Joining us now is Okpe, which story is trending around the world.
I was shy.
What have I done this morning now?
You would pronounce my name right.
No, it's never going to happen. Sorry.
I'm sure you're happy seeing
I am so excited when I saw your message.
With my girl, OG.
Welcome back, Tundu, MKO, Abiola.
Tundu, Victoria, MKO.
I will call you Victoria today because you're all in the house.
As are you.
It's so good to see you.
Same
Welcome
here.
back.
Thank you, darling.
Good morning, Rufai.
Both of you just look very adorable. Me just watching at both of you. You guys just look very, very adorable.
You too, Rufai.
It's a privilege to be walking on the morning show with you guys every morning. And Dr. Abati too. You know, it's just a shared privilege and a joy.
The privilege is all mine, Rufai.
Yeah.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the highlights of what's trending across the globe. In the Vatican City, Pope Francis has, for the first time, appointed a female undersecretary to the Synod of Bishops. In Nigeria, reactions continue to trail the Central Bank of Nigeria's directive to stop all dealings in cryptocurrency trading. In Enugu State, nursing students at the University of Nigeria were seen in a now viral video writing exams under the sun.
Last one, do the right test like this God. How these people go take pass?
Finally, in Nigeria, outrage as policemen allegedly killed 2 persons in broad daylight over the weekend during a clash among commercial motorcyclists in Lagos.
Today is February 6th, 2021.
Well, let's begin in Nigeria with reactions to the Central Bank of Nigeria's directive to deposit money banks to stop all transactions with entities dealing in cryptocurrencies. The Apex Bank, in a statement on Sunday evening, said it is determined to protect the country's financial system from activities of fraudsters and speculators, listing various reasons for its action. The central bank said not only are cryptocurrencies issued by unregulated and unlicensed entities, the patrons and users value anonymity, and there are risks of loss of investments, money laundering, terrorism financing, and criminal activities. The statement was in response to the outrage expressed by many Nigerians over the weekend. Well, let's take a tweet from Nigeria's former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, who wrote, "This is definitely the wrong time to introduce policies that will restrict the inflow of capital into Nigeria. And I urge that the policy to prohibit the dealing and transaction of cryptocurrencies be revised." Let's take another tweet from a founding member of the Feminist Coalition, Ms. Fakus Hashim, who wrote, "The CBN's directive to ban crypto transactions is outrageous. There are so many young people innovating and creating so much despite the hostility of the Nigerian government. This is an assault on all those taking so much in investing themselves in Nigeria." Well, Ms. Fakus has really expressed the outrage among many Nigerians who feel that this ban is, going to affect a lot of young people, which you could hear from the former Vice President of Nigeria's tweet. One of his major concerns was the fact that, our major challenge is job security. And a lot of our youth are really dealing with these cryptocurrencies and they're trying to innovate. But if you look at yesterday's This Day newspaper, the front page showed that the FBI had warned the federal government and the CBN of fraudsters using this method of transaction for, either transacting bitcoins for kidnappers and things like that. So, there are so many things. I heard Rufai also just challenging the fact that there are ways to go about regulating this. I don't know what your take is, but I think that it's such a messy situation at this point.
It is. It seems like it's such an anachronistic policy to have. Although Nigeria is not the only country that has banned cryptocurrencies, other countries have, but other countries have found a way around it.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is, all payment systems, all currencies can be exploited in any way, for money laundering, for crime, for whatever the case may be, not just cryptocurrencies. And the general perception that they're not traceable is actually false. Blockchain transactions are traceable. So I think a lot of it is generational. There's a lot of misgivings, mistrust about any kind of innovation from the old guard. That's natural. But what should be done is to not ban it, is to find a way of regulating it. Rosas was telling us earlier that the SCT was in the process of doing just that. This ban, an outright ban, it seems a bit excessive, to say the least. It should be reviewed. Even the issue of tax evasion, some jurisdictions have raised that tax evasion is a problem, but a state like America has found its way around it. They deem cryptocurrencies as property, and they're taxed as well.
Yes.
So banning a new innovation seems...
I mean, I'm also very skeptical about the anonymity of, you know, the cryptocurrency.
But it can be traced.
Well,
it can be traced.
There's so many countries that have banned it because of that.
Yeah, lots of countries have banned it, but it can be traced.
Dr. Abati, your take?
Well, one of the arguments by the CBN is the legal ground for what they've done. And in that regard, we're told that the CBN Act gives the CBN powers to regulate the financial sector. So to that extent, what the CBN has done will seem to be consistent with the CBN Act and also with the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act. And that under the enabling law, there is nowhere where the CBN is given powers to regulate cryptocurrencies, money in cyberspace. And therefore, the CBN will not be able to protect the financial integrity of the system. Hence, that is their justification. They go further to argue that cryptocurrencies are speculative, anonymous, to the extent that one of the basic principles in banking is that you must know your customer. So under this digital currency space, then you may not know who your customer is. And then, of course, they have linked it to terrorism, banditry. Some people have even gone further that the CBN is having issues with the management of foreign exchange. And because of that, you know, it wants to establish greater control. Whatever the justifications may be, there is policy at one level. The second level is how you implement the policy. And it looks like in implementing this policy, it was so sudden, it was so shocking, even when people say the CBN had been warning since 2017. Yeah. We pointed out that, look, there wasn't enough harmonization between the Securities and Exchange Commission that recognizes cryptocurrency as securities. Now, overnight, the CBN just took a decision to turn those securities into illegal entities. Now, there is also NITDA, which I referred to earlier, which has a national draft policy on blockchain technology. Now, at what point do all these relevant agencies change their minds? And why did the CBN go about it the way it has gone about it? Now, another argument is, really, what is the big deal about cryptocurrency? In Sweden, they have the e-krona. In China, where cryptocurrency is banned, China, for the past 5 years, has been talking about the digital currency.
Yes.
Right? So what is it that the CBN wants? Is it possible to work out a system, you know, a regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies in Nigeria in such a way that cryptocurrencies do not become a substitute for the naira, for the legal tender, but can exist alongside it? And there are lessons that can be learned from other jurisdictions where such a thing has been done. But what we have seen now in the last few hours is you talked about outrage, but there's also disruption. The fintech sector in Nigeria had been developing at a very fast rate. Now, there are so many young people who have now become disoriented. Correct. There are persons who may lose their jobs. I saw a story in the papers. Providus Bank was one of the first banks to follow the CBN directive. Well, yes. And many of these cryptocurrency operators, they've been thrown under the bus. So how you implement policy is also important. But at the end of the day, we hope that reason will prevail. But we need to take a short break. When we return, the morning show will continue. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Okpe is still here with stories trending around the world. Janika, take charge.
Thank you, Dr. Abati. I'll go to you, Rufai, with the story. Before we went on a break, we were talking about the ban on cryptocurrency.
Oji, I'm not in support on the ban, and it's quite very painful. I think we need to re-understand what money is all about. What is money? Money is just a means of exchange. You can peg it against anything. Prior to the Second World War, when the German economy fell, the German government pegged their marks, their Deutschmarks, against land. They called it the Rentimark. At some point, they pegged it against the crates of eggs because those were one of the most stable, valuable products in Germany as at that point in time. So money is just a hedge against value. After the Second World War, they sat down together in Bretton Woods in America and they pegged currencies against gold. It was called the gold standard. Now, what we're doing is currency has disrupted itself. Satoshi Nakamoto brought about the process quicker than his pegged digital currency, which we have been using all this while. It is shocking for me that in a country where you have a Ministry of Digital Economy, you are doing this to cryptocurrency. What's the hallmark of a digital economy? Cryptocurrency. Money will keep disrupting itself. All you need to do is to find ways to be able to regulate it and, shut down all this fraud you are saying and other things that happen. Has it always been in part? Yes, even paper money has failed. Paper money failed in the 30s, led to the stock market crash. The market crashed. Banks failed. That's what brought about deposit insurance companies in America. The markets failed recently. Subprime mortgage crisis 07-08. That's what brought about bills like Dodd-Frank and the likes to regulate the markets. So things will fail. Cryptocurrency will bring its own challenge. You would think you will innovate. What we should be doing is to think of how we can disrupt the space. How can the CBN disrupt the space? Get into the market, set up a currency exchange. You to trade in e-Naira and say it's the best thing since sliced bread. Rather than banning, what we should be doing is we should be innovating. And it's quite shocking because the world is looking at us. At a point in time when our own will soon be the DG of the World Trade Organization, is this not a cryptic assault on free trade? We need to innovate and go beyond this. Let me tell you something, Oji.
Yes.
Peer-to-peer selling of cryptocurrency peaked over the weekend. So what are people telling you? Yes, you can ban the bank format, but peer-to-peer, people will still sell cryptocurrency to one another. You can't stop the air. It has sailed already. This horse has left the holding pen. You can't stop it. Look at what is happening in Zimbabwe. When the currency of Zimbabwe failed, inflation hit over 2,000%. What is saving the people of Zimbabwe is cryptocurrency and digital money.
All right, fine.
We have a Ministry of Digital Economy. They should intervene.
Okay, all right. We'll take another story. There's been outrage following a video footage showing nursing students at the University of Nigeria in Enugu State writing their exams, not in a classroom, but under the sun, outside of a classroom. In the video, some of the students could be seen kneeling on the floor while others stood in groups. It was gathered that the students were writing a test on a general studies program course. Well, let's take a quick look at that video before we come back for a discussion.
Like this.
No, just the goodie.
Just imagine. I test they write like this.
Nigerian medical
under sun.
Under the sun.
Under sun, they write test like this. God, which can how these people go take pass? Imagine. Just imagine.
Okay, that is messed up.
Just imagine.
Nothing
Test. Nothing. See, they write test under sun.
Nothing, guys.
How these guys go take pass? I beg, guys.
They're writing open test.
Open test under sun.
Look at.
Tundu, this looks completely bizarre to me. I mean, even though there's some rumors that, this video might be old or whether the paper they were doing or not an exam, it means nothing to me. Just the sheer fact that these people were outside. You could see that they're all gathered and they're all together doing something that has to do with their studies is outrageous.
Well, this video was sent to me, and it was explained to me in the caption that you have to be careful what you believe on social media. Mm-hmm. The person who sent it to me claimed, I have no way of verifying, that these ladies were outside doing last-minute revision before they were let into their hall, that there's no way they could do a test and be so huddled so closely together, obviously you'd be cheating. But that's what this person claims. But just on the face of it, a lot of people are outraged based on the commentary that has been given by the person. It reminds me of these videos and pictures we see every so often of child street hawkers doing their homework using like traffic, yes, lights while they're doing their homework on the street. It's really devastating, and you see how hard people strive, and there's no infrastructure to support them. But I do want to believe that University of Nigeria, whose motto is to restore man's dignity, would not have
and they should come out with a statement
like
because this has been going on for more than 2 days, and we've not heard from them. We need some sort of refutal on this story, official one on this story, because it is completely outrageous. The fact is the infrastructure, that is the outrage. Why is it that they are out there doing that?
No, if they're waiting before they go in.
Even if they were waiting,
no, that's understandable if they're going in, but they shouldn't be. To actually take the exam in these conditions is completely unacceptable, if that's what's happening.
A quick comment.
Well, I mean, it's important, the caution that you have advised, because of the kind of things that are circulated
on social media.
And if this has been out there for the past 48 hours, one would have expected that the authorities of the University of Nigeria and Nsukka, this is said to be the Enugu campus, will have issued a statement if they have a PRO there to clarify it. Otherwise, it will be assumed that their silence, means that
acquiescence.
The university is guilty as charged. But I hope they will get around to it. Secondly, people are tempted to believe it because of the general perception that the university system in Nigeria, the education system in Nigeria, is in very dire straits. We've seen pictures of children in secondary schools, primary schools, sitting in classes that have no roof, that have no proper ventilation. We've seen students in parts of the country sitting under the trees in 2021 in states that have commissioners of education and that have all kinds of structures, but those structures do not provide the kind of quality education that is required. And it's not surprising that one of the reasons the Academic Staff Union of Universities went on strike for more than 9 months now is because of the quality of infrastructure that is available in our universities. We were told that this is supposed to be the nursing students taking what they call the General Studies exam. The General Studies exam is a general thing taken by, I think, the 100 level students in every Nigerian university. Okay, could it be that there wasn't enough space in the halls because it was a general exam? But again, if they are huddled together like this, and it is an exam, where are the invigilators?
This is why
would the invigilators just allow them
to
stand together, and because they were standing so close? So is that still an exam? I wouldn't think so. So, and that's why the clarification is important. But the University of Nigeria and Nsukka is an established brand. If you have met people who graduated from there, they call themselves lions and lionesses.
It's the first indigenous university.
Yes, but you see, this is not good for the brand of that university. And that's why that clarification is important.
Yes, Rufai, a quick comment from you before we go.
I mean, Nnamdi Azikiwe, wherever he is, will be very upset to see that same university that he established, modeled after an American university, going that way, which is quite very sad, when he made effort as regards that university. What I'm concerned about is COVID. Even if it's a revision, people are too close to each other. That's a super spreader event. Everybody huddled around looking at something and all of that. That's COVID for me. And there should be strong restrictions against people coming together like that, because it's a super spreader event, and no matter how you see it. Also, I'll also make a case for our university system in the country. I think we need to have an overhaul of what education means itself to us. Because you see, we still do education brick and mortar, but it gets to a stage where education has to be beyond brick and mortar. It has to go fully digital. Education can continue this way. This same exam can be written online via a portal, rather than people coming together and they're huddling around themselves and things like that. So we need to disrupt education. That's a COVID spreader. You can see all of them around altogether. That's a big COVID spreader event. Only God knows people that might have caught COVID from that. If one person has COVID, spreads around. I just pray it doesn't have the UK strain, the B117 strain. Quite very sad. But we should rethink education. And we are saying all of this amidst the talk about education. NASU and SANU is on strike. Let's not forget that they started their strike over the weekend. ASU too. I'm not sure the federal government has fulfilled their promise to ASU. There are many problems on ground. You see, the problem with Nigeria is a collective failure of governance over the years. And I'm not going to pinpoint one administration of the other.
Right.
It's a collective failure of governance, and we need to fix every sector of this country.
Very good point, Rufai. Thank you very much. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today.
Thank you very much.